I believe that we need to have a vision for our art and also for our life. I'm narrowing in on a broader vision for myself, and I wanted to share a little bit about that with you. But in order to put that into context, I just wanted to talk about vision in general and what I mean by that, because I borrow that word from the work that I've done for businesses for the last 20 something years. If you don't know my history, you only know me from this group. I am an artist. I make videos and films and TV shows, and I also am a musician and singer. But I also run a design studio that I'm kind of phasing out, and it's called, the design studio is Fuel Blue, but I'm repurposing that name for my new stuff. But I was doing branding, graphic design, web design, and stuff for many, many years for corporate clients and businesses and entrepreneurs. So my big thing was branding. I'm not really a marketing person, although I would help with marketing, but my focus was always branding. And the idea behind branding, it's not just your logo. It's not just, I'm just going to give you a branding history so we can understand what I mean by vision. So stick with me. I'll make this concise as I can. So people think of their brand as their logo, but it's not. Their brand is really what people think of you. So if somebody has a nice interaction with you, then your brand is positive to that person. Now you can understand that in terms of business, because customers come into a store, or customers deal with a business in one way or another, and so their brand becomes what the customer thinks of them. And when you take all the customers' opinions and you can kind of take a conglomerate picture of what everybody thinks of that company, well, that becomes the overall brand. All right, so you can kind of get that. As artists, as human beings, we have brands too. We just don't call it that. We call it reputation. We call it things like that, except it's what people think of you. Oh, that guy is an idiot and you're a dick and everybody agrees with you. Well, then that's your reputation. That's your brand, right? But here's the thing about it. Companies, people in general, and artists especially have the ability to sort of point people in the direction they want them to go when it comes to what they think of them, right? So a customer doesn't just walk into a store and by default start thinking about things. The store did a lot of things to sort of make that customer feel a certain way just by walking in the door. Think of Whole Foods, for example. If you've ever shopped at Whole Foods, it's not your really lame supermarket. It's very high end. It's made beautiful, and all the displays are really, really nice, and they have high end organic food and all this stuff, so that the brand image that you get, that people have of Whole Foods, is very high end, right? So Whole Foods pushed the brand in that direction. So we as artists have the ability to sort of craft this idea of what we want people to think of us as humans, or what we want people to think of us as artists, and to shape that through our work. And so that becomes the vision, right? The vision is what you think of yourself, and then you project that outward so that other people can see it and feel it too and think it, and then that becomes your brand. So the vision is how the brand is born. All right, so that's where I got vision from. And when you have a vision in your life, then what happens is you start to work towards things that fit the vision. And I think that what a lot of us are missing in our fast-paced 24-hour news, social media lives, we were taught, go to school, get good grades, go to work, get a job, get health insurance, get this, get that, and, have 2.4 kids, have nice cars, have a good dog, quiet dogs, right? And you're doing all these things, and you're constantly comparing yourself to what your friends are doing, what everybody's doing on social media, instead of comparing yourself to the vision that you have for your life. And I think that that's where a lot of us get off track sometimes, where, do you understand what I mean? So we don't have this idea of where we're going, that's where I want to go. But instead what we do is we're saying, oh, that's where everybody else is going, but I'm not going there. And then you feel bad. So what I would like us all to do is to sort of take some time to think about what that vision is for your own life, for your own art, for your own art career, You know, if you're a hobbyist, then the reason I'm talking about this in terms of art is because, and I like to say this, art is our secret weapon. We can actually draw it. You know, we can write a song, we can write a poem, we can write a book, we can write anything. We can draw something, we can create something, we can sculpt it. You know, it's like you have this vision in your head. Most people, it's just a vision. They have to imagine it, and they don't even know how to articulate it because they're not practiced at it. But we are. We can take that vision and go like, oh, you know what? It looks like this. Right? Or, you know, it looks like this. Or let me write it down for you in beautiful prose so that now you can understand it too. We have that ability. We need to do that, right? We need to do that for ourselves. And then you take that vision and you plaster it on your wall and you put it everywhere, Post-it notes on your mirrors in your bathroom, so that when you're doing what you're doing throughout the day, you can remember to ask yourself, is this thing that I'm doing going towards my vision? Or is it just because I see other people doing it? Is this what I really want to be doing with my life? Or is it what I just fell into this cycle trap of doing because I was told to do it, or that's what that guy's doing, or that's what all my neighbors do, or that's whatever, you know? And it's easy to get caught in that cycle because we live in such a fast-paced world that once you get in that cycle, it's hard to get out. You need to pull yourself out, but on purpose. Because if you don't, then you're just stuck in it. Because then you wake up the next day and the cycle starts all over again. So, wow, that took me a little bit longer to explain than I wanted. But I just 3 things I just wanted to say really quick before I get to the no comments that are here. If you're live, feel free to comment, because I like that. That's my favorite part of the thing, is reading the comments at the end. Trust your feelings, right? Is number one. I should have said this first. All right, so number one thing that I want to get to is to trust your feelings. When we want to create this vision for our lives, maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe we're so stuck in what we're just doing all the time that we don't even know, what do I want to accomplish? What is my vision for my life? So as artists, we can just start to paint. We can just start to draw. And I was having a quick conversation on in the comments of one of the other posts with Alyssa Povey, and she was just talking about how when she paints, she can kind of like turn her brain off and it just flows out of her, and then she'll look at it the next day and she won't even know where this came from. And that's a talent that a lot of us have as artists. We can just sort of go in, get in the zone, we call it, and let it come out. And then number 2 is, over time, if you can practice doing that, over time you start to see a pattern emerge where, and that's what happened to me, where I realized I was constantly writing songs with the same theme. I was constantly creating videos around the same theme. And it wasn't on purpose. It was just that I would turn my brain off and let myself go there. Whereas in the past, I was constantly forcing myself to make videos and stuff around my business, where I was trying to say, oh, well, I'm a branding person, so I have to make branding videos, and I would like force it, and it was taking a square peg in a round hole, right? But if you just sort of let it go, I never did that in music. So in music, I always just kind of let it go. And none of that stuff came out in my music. I wasn't writing songs about branding and business and logos and selling stuff. Why would I do that? That's ridiculous. I was writing songs that were part of my overall vision. And then when I said I want to make videos that fit what I'm writing songs about, the same stuff came out just in video form. And now I can see this pattern emerge, and I'm just like, I have this vision that I want. And my vision is to, and I kind of hinted at this at a live the other day, where I said, I just want to take these problems in the world and fix them with art. I want to inspire humanity with art. I was like, how did I never think of this before? It should have been. Oh, I'm glad my dad's here today, because I kind of mentioned that story the other day, but he wasn't here. And because you remember, I'm talking to my dad. You remember when I was in college and I didn't want to do engineering anymore, and you said, Dad, go to your guidance counselor at high school. And I was like, right? And ask them what to do. And they were like, well, what do you like? And I was like, I like art. And they said, so go to school for graphic design. And I had no idea that graphic design was even a thing you could go to school for. So I did, and I became an artist professionally. Like I only became an engineer because I wanted to draw airplanes. I wanted to be an aerospace engineer and draw airplanes. And then when I found out that they don't do that, right? It was disheartening. So, but now I was kind of stuck there, and I was doing this because, well, all my friends are doing it, and I'm already here, and I'm enrolled in this school, and I may as well just finish. But then it stunk. So I went to art school, and same thing though. Then I got out of art school and started a business, and I was interested in websites, and before you know it now, I just have this business where I'm making websites for people, until I got to the point where I just hated it. I was like, this is terrible. I can't do this another 10, 20 years. I don't like this whatsoever. I need to figure out what I want. But it was so weird to me that when I went to back to my high school guidance counselor, here I was a senior in college, and I go back to my high school guidance counselor, and they're like, so go to school for art. And it was just like, how did I never even think to go to school for art? Like, why art? It was so obvious to everybody else that art was this thing for me, and yet I was just like, oh, I want to do this. And now here I am again, a couple years later, right, where I'm just like, trying to build this business or something, but I'm always trying to build it in some marketable fashion. And it only now, when I'm really just letting myself create this vision through allowing myself to just create what comes out rather than trying to force feed something that I think I should be making. And then I take a step back and I look at it, I'm like, look at this pattern. It's all about inspiring people through art, and then I create this group, and all of this starts happening, and all of you guys show up, and I'm just like, oh my God, where have you people been all my life? It's amazing, you know? So the third thing is to just, the second thing, when you see that pattern happening, pay attention, look for the pattern. When you're allowing it to just sort of flow out of you, you'll notice that everything kind of lines up in a pattern. Go with the pattern. And then the final thing is to trust it, because it's very common where we go, I don't know, that can't be right? Gee, that's not what everybody over there is doing, or that's not what I was told I was allowed to do, or that doesn't seem responsible, or I don't know if I can make a lot of money doing that, or, any of these other excuses that we create. But if you don't trust it and go with it, then you're constantly going to be pounding against trying to swim upstream for your whole life. And trust me, it stinks. Go downstream. It's a lot easier. So anyway, that's what a vision is. A vision, it becomes a map of what you want, so that everything else in your life, no matter what you're working on, no matter what project you could take on, even if you took on a client or a job or anything, you can always ask yourself, is this going towards my vision, or is it going towards somebody else's vision? Go toward your vision. All right, I'm going to pause this one here and go to the comments. Okay, I talked long enough and the comments filled up, so that's good. Here we go. My dad found me. Blake says, Branford Image, Target versus Macy's, both retail but different brands. Yeah, right. Okay, so back to what I was saying before. And I'm not going to harp on that, because I was only using that to kind of create a foundation for my point. I like today's conversation. It's giving me some ideas. Yes, and thank you. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Blake. Kirsten's here. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you on the live. I struggle with content I paint. I am torn with painting what I want versus what others want. Okay, so see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So here's so Kirsten, I'm not sure if when you say what others want, meaning that you're being commissioned and paid to do it, or just because people are like, Kirsten, you're so good at painting horses, you should just do that. I'm just making up horses, right? But either way, what I'm getting at is, when you decide to paint something, if it's for you, paint what's towards your vision of your life, right? Like, take painting and make it where you want to go. If you're taking other people's opinions into consideration, especially if it's for paid commission work, then what you want to do is take on the kind of commission work that's going toward your vision. If you stick to the vision and to the exclusion of other things, you'll find that the people who still want to pay you will start showing up, that want to pay you to do the things that you actually want to paint. You don't have to do the things you don't want to do. It may not be on day one. You might need to transition into it and kind of allow it to happen over a little bit of time. But if you give it that time and you give it that energy and that focus, it will happen where now suddenly you don't have to paint anything that you don't want to paint. And that goes for sculptors, dancers, everybody. Right? I think you understand that. Blake, don't compete with others. Use your own vision. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. David's here. Hello. Hi. I made a decision to step out of the fast pace in March when lockdown started, and that's when I started regularly meditating and writing poetry with positive messages. And it's been great for my confidence and my mental health. That's really, really great. I'm glad you said that, because I feel like I'm at a culmination point of what I started in March. When the whole lockdown thing happened, I kind of said to myself, I'm going to use this time to do some inner reflection and figure out what the heck I want to be when I grow up. Because I keep trying to do that, and I always got sidetracked to where I was trying to make it somebody else's vision, you know? I had that show, Planet Bonehead. I don't know if you heard me talk about this before, but it's a TV show that I made for kids and to teach them about science and the environment. And the funny thing is that as much as I loved the idea in the beginning and creating the show, there were other people involved. And then, you know, when you have other people involved, especially in business partners, you kind of have to have their visions, they have to blend with yours. And our visions didn't blend. So I was constantly making compromises. And when it came to the point where I didn't have these partners anymore, they all left the company. And then it was just me and this show. I was like, I don't even like this show. I like it, but I don't love it because it's not what I would have created if I had created it from scratch. And it was all just me and my vision. So, spoiler alert, I'm rebranding the show into just my vision. And it's not going to be Planet Bonehead about the environment. It's going to be about art. I'm not going to tell you more about it today, but there's a little hint. So, yeah, and that started back in March. And, you know, from March to today, I didn't figure that out on March 1st. Oh, sorry, I snapped my finger right in the microphone. I didn't figure that out on March 1st. You know, it took a while and a lot of time of meditating and introspection and taking notes and getting frustrated and doubting myself and being like, what the heck am I doing? I just got to make websites. There's a lot of ups and downs in this. Is it Lazaro? How do you pronounce your name? I'm not really sure. I'm going to say Lazaro unless you tell me I'm wrong. Art is healer. Yeah, it really, really is. It's definitely a healer. I'm coming out with a new video, a video that I'm producing that's going to sort of be the showcase piece for where I'm taking my company. It's like the introduction to the company and the direction that I'm going with it. And that sentiment that art is a healer, like I could use that to wrap up with the video. So thanks for that. Kirsten, I started in pre-med and then switched to art school. Now I'm a graphic designer for an engineering firm. Oh, that's cool. I'm sure they don't let you paint what you want to paint at an engineering firm. I meant cool because it's similar to me, because I went to engineering school, and then because I went to engineering school, when I was running my graphic design firm, I kind of gravitated towards a lot of engineering clients. I've had a lot of technical clients. I actually enjoyed it for a long time until I didn't, but that's interesting. Pre-med to engineering. I went from pre-med to graphic design. I went from engineering to graphic design, but now you work for engineering people. Okay, is that it? That was the last comment. Whew. I'm never gonna learn how to breathe on these things. I'm always gonna be blah, 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 blah. So I'm getting used to it. I hope you're used to it. But if that's the last comment, then Kirsten, you got the Booby Prize today. If you're still with me, we just started the new theme in the group. It's called Infinity. So basically, if you would like to, you can create a piece of art, whatever your modality is, or take one that you already have and post it with the hashtag Infinity and just describe, basically the challenge is just what does infinity look like or sound like to you? The concept, I'm just trying to use very huge concepts just to see everybody's thought process and what we think of these things. So I'm starting with that. And that's until November 12th, so we have plenty of time. But, you don't have to wait. All right, guys, I'm going to split and go have dinner, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time and hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. See you tomorrow. Bye.